Emily dashed up the stairs to her attic bedroom, tears streaking down her cheeks. School had been brutal today. Jade, the bully, was especially vicious. They used to be inseparable, but a fight over a boy last week tore them apart. The weight of teenage drama crushed Emily, and the humiliation from her former friend had left her crying in front of the whole class. Emily was a late bloomer, patting her bra with inserts. In the changing room, Jade had ripped one away. The taunts began immediately. Girls pointed and laughed, calling her Patty Pancake. They joked her real chests were barely there, nothing bigger than bee stings, and even younger girls had more than she did. It all started in first period, but the insults never stopped. When the boys caught wind, even the unpopular kids joined in mocking her. The breaking point came when a girl 3 years younger asked if she was the baby from the seniors. Emily fled, tears blurring her vision as she ran straight home. She raced up the stairs and collapsed face first onto her bed, sobbing. "I'm not a pancake," she whispered, twisting on her bed. "Little girls don't have a body like mine." She jumped up, grabbed a handheld mirror from her bedside table, a silver-plated antique her mother got in France, though really it was a worthless trinket bought off a street vendor. She hadn't used it before and noticed its imperfections, a rippled surface, tarnished edges. Still, it showed the redness on her face and bloodshot eyes as she wiped away tears. Moving to the full-length mirror, she cupped her chests, trying to highlight the little cleavage she had. "They're bigger than bee stings," her voice cracked, swelling with fresh tears and anger. "Jade, how could you? I'm not you." Staring into the handheld mirror, voice sharp with hurt and fury, she yelled, "You're just a little girl." Suddenly, the mirror's surface cracked with a sharp crunch, a jagged split appeared. Emily jumped back, dropping the mirror. It spun slowly through the air, tumbling as it fell. She held her breath, hoping it hadn't shattered as it bounced on the carpet and flipped over, landing mirror side down with the ornate silver backing facing up. "Oh no," she whispered, bracing herself. But when she picked it up, no shards fell. The glass was flawless, smooth and flat, reflecting the room perfectly, except not her. Turning to the full-length mirror, she saw only a blurred version of herself. Panic crept in. She called for her mom, but no answer. Lifting the handheld mirror back, she saw only the wall behind her. She moved to a poster on the wall and checked again. Sure enough, the poster appeared where her head should be. Turning the mirror over, she caught sight of a foot. Not hers. Small and pudgy. Raising the mirror higher, pointing it down, she gasped. A child stared back at her through the glass, eyes locked onto hers. "Oh my God," she whispered, dropping the mirror again. This time, on her knees, she peered down into it. The child smiled, leaning close. Emily mimicked the movement, their faces mirroring each other. The two faces hovered just inches apart, separated only by a thin sheet of glass, locked in perfect synchronicity. Emily couldn't believe her eyes. "Oh my God!" Suddenly, two small hands burst forth from the mirror, grabbing her ears with a fierce grip and pulling her toward the glass. Terrified, Emily screamed as she clutched the tiny hands, but she was pulled in fast, her feet flailing as she slipped through the surface. She landed on all fours with a soft thud on the other side. Her hands were soft and chubby, smooth to the touch. She tried to stand but stumbled, tangled in a pile of clothes. Frantically scanning the room, she spotted the handheld mirror nearby. She grabbed its heavy frame and saw the little child staring back at her, mouth open and eyes glistening with tears. The child had been crying, unlike the dull reflection she'd just seen. She stood up, barely reaching the height of the bedpost. Looking down at her bare body, she saw no trace of her adult curves. Her skin was smooth and hairless, and her belly, no longer flat or toned, now rounded like a child's. She stumbled back to the clothes, pulling out her underwear and holding it up. There was no way she'd fit into them anymore. "No," she sobbed. "No." She crawled to the mirror and struggled to lift it off the floor. The weight was heavy, and her new body lacked the strength she once had. Cradling the mirror, she cried, "Why? Why am I a little girl? Please, I'm a grown-up. Gazing into the glass with longing, she whispered, I wish I was big. I wish I was a beautiful woman. The mirror stirred again, but this time, smoke-like words appeared slowly across the glass, age restrictions apply. She broke down in tears. Linda, Emily's mother, came home and heard what sounded like a baby crying from upstairs. She moved cautiously toward the noise, which grew louder as she neared Emily's room. Slowly, she pushed the door open. Oh my, she murmured, clearly taken aback. Patty, why is there a screaming child in your room? Patty? No answer came, but the small child looked up at her with sorrowful eyes. Linda noticed the child was wrapped in a tangled heap of clothes and completely naked, too young to control herself. The mirror lay in the corner, glass side up. Muttering softly, Linda knelt down and tried to soothe the child in a gentle, comforting tone. Hello, sweetie, what are you doing here? Where's your mama? Where's your mama? Emily struggled to speak through sobs and hiccups, making her words almost impossible to understand. Linda studied the child carefully and lifted her into her arms. There was something familiar about her, but she couldn't place where she'd seen this child or whose baby she was. Rocking gently, Linda calmed the girl while searching her memory for any clue. From Emily's low vantage point, her mother's shoulders seemed dizzyingly high. She buried her face into her mother's chest, gripping tightly. Mommy, it's me, Patricia, the child said. Linda stepped back, holding her at arm's length, stunned. The child wriggled her legs and looked her straight in the eye, speaking with a maturity no toddler should possess. No, Emily's almost 18. You're barely 18 months old. How can you be? Please, Mommy, it's me. I shrunk into a little baby and... You can't be. But what? Please, Mommy, I made a wish and it came true. But on me. Tears rolled down her rosy cheeks. Her mother pulled her close again and began pacing the room. Despite everything, Emily felt safe and comforted in her mother's arms, as if nothing could harm her. Well, her mother said, we still have some of your old baby clothes in the crawl space. She went to the cupboards lining the attic and pulled out a few boxes. Looking at you, this might fit. She held up a baby grow and laid it flat. Yeah, that should work. You'll need some diapers too. I don't have disposables right now, so you'll have to make do with one of these, okay, sweetie? No, please, Mommy, I don't want to be little again. Please, Emily sobbed as her mother laid her on the carpet, powdered her tiny bottom, lifted her legs, and fastened a diaper towel with safety pins. Next, she dressed her in the baby grow, white, fluffy, and nearly new. Emily whimpered but was silenced when a pacifier was placed in her mouth. Her instincts took over, and she sucked until calmness washed over her, leading to sleep. Her mother gently picked her up and laid her in bed. Now, sweetie, Mommy will have to get you some more clothes, and maybe some toys too. Emily nodded, her eyes heavy from crying. Her mother closed the door and left her little daughter to rest. Emily sucked on her pacifier, taking in the room from her smaller perspective. Even her single bed seemed enormous. Just days ago, she'd begged for a double because she felt cramped. Now she could roll around freely without fear of falling off. She lay there, contemplating her new life, barely able to keep her eyes open before drifting into a deep sleep. As the sun set, the mirror began to haze, and as Emily slept, an arm suddenly reached out from its surface. Don't forget to join me on Patreon for exclusive content.